So let's start from the questions. Do you have any questions about homework? Guys? Any questions about homework? Talk to me. We are not on Selenium class. And about Selenium, guys, don't jump ahead. We will learn how to deal with pop-ups, but we don't know enough yet to deal with it, okay? Also, if you want on your own, do it and using Java or Perl or Python. Don't send it to me. It's not a class about Java and it's not a class about Python. I'm not gonna check it. Okay, I got a lot of emails that people were trying to do it on their own using different framework. Well, I cannot help you with that. I mean, I can, but I'm not gonna do it. I don't have time to do that. Okay, this class, the Selenium class, it's on the Ruby Cucumber framework. It's nothing to do with Java, it's nothing to do with Eclipse, it's nothing to do with Python. I hope it's clear. Okay? So let's talk about manual testing, because if you cannot pass interview for manual testing, the automation will be out of question. So where are we at with the manual testing? Did somebody try to test the latest build? Did somebody try to install the new build? Guys? Did somebody try to install a new build and have an update for me? Okay, so if you installed it 15 minutes ago, what do you see? Correct. So if we have build like that, what do we need to ask about? Do you think it's a bug? Correct. So basically, the latest build, if you will try to install it now, you would see that it has only 4 games available. That's a rollback. That's a first version that ever went production. And developers needed to be tested because one of the schools asked for this version. So when you get something like that, what do you do? What do you think would be the right thing to do? Well, regression, yes, but hold on. But even when you regress, everything is already for the old version, right? Or for the new version, sorry. So you have already new version. The version that you got now, it's 1 year old. What do you think happens in situation like that? How do you deal with that? No, but in general, Vasco, try to approach it. All your testing approach should be in general. Little details not that important right now. So In a real life, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get note from developer, or developer's gonna stop by, or your manager gonna tell you, okay, we rolled back on the previous version. We need to retest it. We have 2-3 hours to do that. Please install it and test it. So you install the new build, right? But then you need to follow test cases. You don't need exploratory. You already know the game upside down. Guys, I'm asking you, try to think in different direction. Try to think about in general. When in general you test, right? You follow test cases, correct? You don't just test as you wish. You got to go step by step and test it. Okay, so probably, but try to think what happened to your previous test cases. What do you think gonna happen? You let's say you worked for this project for all those years, for like 2 years, for example, right? You were upgrading test cases as they come. Yeah. So basically, to avoid situation like that, when new version is coming up, you branch your test cases out. Do you know what it means to branch out? Okay, so let me introduce you to the new system, let's say, right? Create a copy, correct. Branch out, it means create a copy. So in real life, your test cases would be saved in some kind of system. It can be Dropbox, it can be GitHub. Do you guys know what this Dropbox and what's a GitHub or Bitbucket is about? Are you guys familiar with those things? So Bitbucket and GitHub, those are the most popular tools. And they're free source, so you can always uh, open an account. It's kind of a cloud storage. It's a storage where you save all your documents, and not just documents, but your code, your everything. So the most popular website that people use, the cloud, if you wish, it's a GitHub, not a Dropbox, and not the. So I would say GitHub, Bitbucket, and then Dropbox. Okay, GitHub, that's a tool the developer use, right? They submit all the code inside there. They check it inside the GitHub. Yes, it spells like that. Hold on, I'll show you. So you can create an account in a GitHub or Bitbucket. So it's allowed to put the code or documents or whatever you do in order. So what happens in real life? So developers submit their code every day into master, right? Master, it's a branch that the current code is submitted in. So they all work on master, for example. They submit the code, Eventually they get the latest build, right? They get the latest build, you test it, and then you push it to production. And version 1 is completed. And in the moment that version 1 is completed, they branch it out. It means they take the code that exists and copy it to the branch to free up the master. The main master is kind of a main branch, right? For the next commit, to the next features, to the next version. So when developer branch out their code, you branch out yours. If it's automation, then you branch out your automated test cases. If it's just a document, right, that you created, you branch your document out. Because you never know when you would have a need to test this version again. Probably never, but probably you will need it. Not even right now, not in a week, in a two, but suddenly in a month or two, they would need the old version to be tested. And if you didn't branch out your test cases and you modified it all for the new version, you will be in trouble. Because they will not be identical. They will be already way different. Some functionality will go away, new functionality will get introduced. And you would not have a document to follow. Okay, so it's a good practice. And the moment that the version gets released, you save your test cases, you mark them as a test cases for version 1, and you save them somewhere, you branch them out. And then you start creating new documents. So it doesn't mean that you need to create all the test cases from scratch. It's silly, right? You leave the copy that you had. Because when you branch out, you just copy paste your existing test cases to another location. And you keep working on the test cases that you have. So you modify them. So your test cases will be up to date every day. Do I make sense, guys? Any questions? Okay. So let's try to test what we have because I don't see you guys really testing it at home. I don't see any new bugs coming up. I don't see any old bugs getting closed. So let's see what we can do. Let's spend 15 minutes testing and let me know what's going on. 15 minutes. Try to follow existing test cases. No welcome video. What kind of welcome video are we talking about, Coolwalker? When you will test it, it will also show you how much it is different from the existing product. Don't type right away what you see, okay? Wait. Collect information and let's share it in 15 minutes. Guys, stop. Don't type yet. Don't type just yet. Let's concentrate on testing for at least 15 minutes. Well, it was always 4 games, I believe. Well, we don't have 5 games, Nikolai, right now, right? Also, attention to animation, to the sad faces, to the happy faces, to everything. Also, don't forget, guys, with the old version, old bugs show up normally, right? Guys, I don't have this version. I cannot open this. I believe I cannot open this picture. Yeah, I need a new version of Skype. If you want to send me a screenshot, just send me a screenshot. Unknown, it's always been there. It means you never get to this level of the game, we just said. It just tells me that you haven't been testing. Okay, guys, we have 2 more minutes and then we'll talk. I'm really curious who did what. Okay, let's see. 1 game before included 3 games level, now it's 2. No, I can get more than 1 fish, same kind. That should not happen. You should get different types of fish. Okay, extra class. Nothing, okay. I know you cannot see games leveling up, but that's old version of it. It really sucks. Not sucks, but it's really first version. That's never been released actually. So you can see how much it developed through the year. Yes, it's no messages, but what do you get instead of it? Lake appears. Not really lake, it's an aquarium, right? It starts sparkling. Starts sparkling and you see and it tells you something happened in your aquarium, correct? You can send it by email. Who else saw 2 identical fish in aquarium, guys? Just 1 person? Oh no, yes, really? Okay, guys, if you see 2 identical fish, can you send me screenshots? I don't see any 2 identical fish, so I'm not sure what you guys did that I don't do. You don't see aquarium because you didn't play 4 games yet, Nikolai. You gotta see 4 games. You gotta play 4 games. You gotta complete 4 games. And then you will see an aquarium. Guys, when you say something like that, Dmitry, it doesn't tell me a lot. I cannot reproduce it. I need steps. Okay. Also try to send steps to reproduce, guys. Without steps to reproduce, developers will not be able to help. They will not be able to fix. When you send me a screenshot, don't forget to give me steps how you reproduced it and device it your own. Otherwise, it will not be useful. Okay, Stanislav, now it's not a bug. So Stanislav sent me a screenshot. Now I see, first of all, he's not testing the latest version. Because it's no way in 15 minutes he could progress to that kind of a level. Guys, it's very, very important. No, Dmitry, you cannot do it before today. We just got a new build 15 minutes ago. If you didn't install the new build, that all your bugs are not right. So, okay, I'm telling you what's wrong. By the screenshot that you sent to me, I see that you're already on a very high level. It would be level 7 or 8. Okay? Now, in 15 minutes, you couldn't get to the level 7 or 8. No way. It means you didn't install the new build. If you didn't install the new build that actually was available for you guys just 15 minutes ago, it means you're testing completely different build. It means your testing is not relevant. If you install the new build, when it happened? If you install the new build, it means you didn't uninstall the previous one. You cannot do that, guys. It's not update test. You cannot do that. You cannot install the new build on top of the old one. Especially when you go on a version back big time. Just think what you did. You have a code of the app from 2015, right? April 2015. And then on top of it, you install the code from December 2013. Will it be relevant testing? Guys, you gotta think about what you do. Guys, it's not about your convenience. You cannot do, oh, let me keep the old progress on. That's just silly. You're not playing the game, you're testing it. That should be a very, very, very clear in your head that you never install the build on top of existing one until you were told so. Back then it was no email, so you would not get an email. Okay, guys. So rule number one, please remember everybody, never ever install the new build on top of the existing one until you were told so explicitly by the manager or development. Don't be afraid to lose your progress. That's all your job is about. You're losing the progress and you're starting it all over. Otherwise, you will hit a lot of bugs that nobody would be able to reproduce because people will test on a clean code and you always will have some messed up code on your device. Any questions so far, guys? Guys, when you report the bugs, report it in the bug tracking system. Okay, guys, okay. So exercise is over. If you find any bugs, please file it. But what did we learn from this exercise? Who can tell me? What did we learn from this exercise? Always fresh install. Okay, I hoped we learned it before, but apparently not. Okay. Always back up everything. That's correct. Test old version, need to access old version and test. It was a release version, but the version was very, like almost 2 years ago. Okay, guys, so here's my take from this exercise. Never ever modify your test cases without backing up test cases for the certain version. Because even though now you think you remember it all, in a year your application will change so much that you would not remember how it was supposed to work a year ago. And if you would need to test it, you would need to test all version, then you will be lost. That's the most important take from that. The second take, I never thought it will come up, but apparently it did. Never, ever, ever install the new version on top of the previous one. Always clean up. If you don't clean up, the bugs that you find would not be relevant. Is it clear? Guys, everybody, any questions? Good. Also, please update, work with the bug tracking system. When you report bugs, always go to the bug tracking system. It should be the habit already. When you find bug, don't report it like that. Go to the bug tracking system, open the bug, and then give everybody the number. When you go to devs, you don't send them an emails or you don't tell them, I opened the bug and start describing it. You just tell, okay, take a look at the bug number, blah, blah, blah. Yes, next time it will be a new version. And you cannot install it on top of the existing one. You would need to clean up. Okay, guys. Now let's go over questions again. So one of the students from the last class just passed the job interview, and she was very nice, and she shared the questions that she was asked. And she got a job like a couple of weeks ago, I believe, or 1 week ago. So I want to share it with you guys, and I hope it will help everybody to get ready for the interview. And even though those questions sounds trivial, but they get asked on every interview. So I didn't find anything new in her questions, but they were phrased a little bit different. So I really want you to go over it. Okay. First, very silly questions. Tell me about yourself. Okay. Any luck? Guys, when you go to interview, can you please be nice and send me questions? Because I always collect them and then I share it with other students. Okay, so the first question. Tell me about yourself. Apparently, it's get asked non-stop. It doesn't matter who's interviewing you. People ask the same question. So, tell me, who can tell me how to answer this question, guys? Tell me about yourself. What they want to hear. Why they ask this question. I believe it's not when I ask this, no, well, truly saying I never ask this question. I never phrase it like that. But when people ask that, they can read your resume. They know you have 5 or 6 years experience in certain knowledge, right? but they want to know a little bit about you that it's not in a resume. So you can always tell something that will stand you out from the crowd. Not necessary to career, probably how you got to this career, right? For example, also you don't need to start answering this question from my name is blah 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 and I was born blah 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 and then I got education and blah blah blah. That sounds very silly because I can read it. It's on your resume. Tell me something that it's not in your resume, something very specific to you. Don't talk, I believe, again, guys, that's my take. So you need to think through what you want to say. Eh, love new technologies feel great. Guys, okay, so my opinion on it, it's very personal, right? It's no right or wrong answer to this question because everybody is different and something that I like probably another person wouldn't like or even hate. So but you need to practice to answer. So my idea when I talk with you about it, that you will stand in front of the mirror and you will try to answer this question fully, not in your head, but speak up. You will be surprised how different it is when you try to say it and when you think about it. Yeah, I can't stop testing. I don't know if I would believe in that. Nikolai, probably somebody will buy that. One of the interview people asked me if I consider myself a lucky person. And when I said yes, I was hired. So that's very, very, very personal. Depends what people are looking for. I'm not kidding, by the way. That's a real case scenario. And when I joined the team, I had 10 engineers in my team. None of them knew anything at all. And I was wondering how they got hired. And I asked them how long was the interview, and they said, well, my interview was 15 minutes on the phone, and the only thing they asked me if I consider myself lucky. So things like that happen. Then I was not surprised that nobody knows anything, because the people who interviewed them had no idea what they're talking about. Okay, so again, that's very, very personal. Don't say I'm a geek. Let other people decide that. Okay, next question, guys. What's a bug component? What's a bug component? Short description step to reproduce, they're not the most important. ID not important at all, severity, priority not important. Never say ID, guys. ID it's automatically assigned to this. Finally, short description steps to reproduce environment and build. And then after that, expected and actual results. Guys, by now I should wake you up in the middle of the night and you should be able to answer this question. ID is not important. If you open Bug and Bugzilla, do you ever enter ID? You don't. Right? Short description, steps, environment build. What's going on? Okay. Environment build and expected and actual result. Well, Scott, why are you confused about actual expected and actual result? Log, screenshots, yeah, that's already extras. What is confusing about? No. Test case not necessarily has an actual result or expected result or actual result actually. It has expected result and that's it. Bug has to have actual and expected. That's necessity. Because a lot of time when you work in a big company, right? Developers were working on completely different project and then they free up and they were assigned to fix bug. They don't know functionality at all. Okay, that can be scenario when developer doesn't know functionality. So when you tell him that's what happened, his question would be, what did you expect to happen? Right? When error message is there, then it's obvious. When it was no error message, then they have no idea. They look at the page that you attached and they're totally fine with that. They don't understand what's an expected result, why it's a bug. So expected result, it's really important to have. Is it clear? Last cut. In a test case, it's just expected result. It's not necessarily to be an actual result. Just in certain setups. Most of the time, it wouldn't have actual result. Okay, next one. I'm always surprised that people cannot give me the full amount of important fields in a bug track in a bug report. That's if you cannot answer this question, you better don't even go to the interview, okay? Because it's a very, very basic. And if you miss environment and build, it's no way you've been testing a web app or mobile app. Because if you test it at least for a month every day mobile app, you know for sure that without environment and without build, bug is not completed. Okay, next one. What do you do if developer rejects your bug? Yes, please email me questions. That will be nice. How do you ask developer why? What if developer send you the email saying the bug will not be fixed? Okay, check requirements. Maybe it's not a bug. Correct. Try to reproduce it again, and if you check, so it should be several steps, right, guys? If developers reject your bug, should be several steps that you take. First, you check requirements. You make sure that it's a real bug, because probably requirements changed and you didn't know about it yet. So checking requirements can be by looking at the documentation if it's up to date, talking to your manager, talking to the product managers or project manager, one or another. If product manager or project manager, both of them, they say it's a bug, then you go back and you try to reproduce it. If you can reproduce it, you read developer's comments, why he rejected. That can be different reasons. He can say, I cannot reproduce it. He can say it's not a bug, right? So if you're saying he cannot reproduce it, you got to double check if all the information that you provided is good enough. If it's still good enough, then you better send an email to developer saying, sorry, I still can reproduce it, blah, blah, blah. Please take a look at this bug again. Or you just go to developers. If you work in a startup, you just go to developer and you show it to him. Okay, but you don't give up. You never say if developers rejected the bug, then that's okay, then it should not be fixed. Go to the manager, it's the last thing you want to do, in my opinion. Again, if developers reject bugs pretty often, it doesn't mean you need to run to the manager. Just if it's become a conflict, then yes. But always try to solve it on your own without involving manager, just a better practice. Any questions? It depends. It depends how good team is. In some companies, it's non-stop. In some companies, it's very rare, but it's always there. Try to avoid it, but a lot of times try to not go to them too often. But again, from my experience, especially people who just started, they always get into the conflict. Again, don't forget your job is not very pleasant for them, right? You're actually telling them what they did wrong. And just personality wise, not everybody can take it. I'm trying to make sure my team has a very good relationship with development. I don't have a problem to answer interview questions, guys. Okay, let's keep going. I want to finish those questions. What is the difference between web and mobile application when you're testing it? You see, we did talk about all those questions and answers. They just phrased a little bit differently. Same approach, different standards, but what are they? When you say that you need to be more implicit, when you say just one phrase, it's not enough, right? You don't need to go into environment right away. So you say same approach, different standards. Because mobile testing is much more complex. And then you explain why it's more complex. Like you support much more devices and much more OSs because you need to think about a lot of different things like internet connection, battery, calls interruption, system memory. Very, very good, Sergey. What's an Android fragmentation? What do you mean? Okay, next one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, guys? It's a very stupid question, but oops. Where am I? Okay. But apparently, it's still getting asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? In my opinion, the best answer to say, I want to be much more technical and to know more about automation and stuff like that. Don't tell I want to become QA manager, okay, director, or whatever it is. It sounds really, really stupid, okay? Because it tells the people that you concentrate on the wrong things. I believe the best answer will be to become that if you say that you want to be very technical and to learn automation, that will be the best answer. More experience you will become in 5 years, but you need to become much more technical and knowledgeable. Guys, don't say improve my skills. Tell exactly what you want, even if you don't want it. And to tell that you want to be automation engineer and you want to learn automation and be fluent in that. That would sell, that will sell, okay? Someone who will make difference in QA, guys, it's very general. It's very, very general. If people give me this answer, I don't like it. I want to see that the person who sits in front of me, and now I see that the person doesn't understand anything at all, doesn't know anything at all, but has a nice personality, has an idea about QA process, has a real, real strong will to learn. That's a person that I want to hire. Guys, I'm telling you, it's all those answers are very personal, right? You can pick whatever you think it suits you better. Okay, tell me how would you test a Coke machine? The soda machine, how would you test it? Don't start positive, don't start requirements, start test cases. What would you do? You're talking about soda machine, Anna, what coffee? No, so far I don't like your answers, guys. Okay, guys, you know what? Not liking it. Guys, whatever you start testing, you can say, you can prepare the answer, right? You can say, okay, if I start testing soda machine, first I will try to play around and figure out how it works. I will create the test plan, making sure that will help me to make sure I didn't miss anything. Then I'll start to create main test cases, and I will try to cover first main functionality. And my test cases for the Coke machine would be first, put the correct amount of money in, push the button in front of the soda that I'm attempted to buy, and make sure that the correct soda bottle is pushed down. That's a first test case. Second test case, try to put more money than expected and make sure you get a change. And so on and so off. Sergey, I told you, Mike teach you theory and I teach you practice. I said it from a really, really beginning, right? Because Mike's read all the book about the QA methodology. I never read any of those, but I'm working 15 years on the field. I said it from really beginning, guys. And everybody sees it differently. You can listen to Mike, listen to me, and create your own version. Okay, guys, so think about those test cases for the Coke machine. That's important. Important that you would be able to give an answer that impress people, to give the answer that the person who asked it would understand, that you have an idea what you have an idea how to test. Okay, you have your own approach of testing. Okay, let's keep going. We're out of time, but I want to finish those questions. Think about at least 5, 6 test cases for the Coke machine. I didn't like what I saw today. Would you write the same test cases for iOS and Android devices? That's a very tricky question. I believe, Vasco, we have those type of exercises every class. Okay, would you create the same test cases for Android and iOS devices? Correct. I think the right answer will be depends on. Because on some, correct, Paulina. Because Android and iOS devices application can be slightly different. We didn't see it because the thinking time is identical for iOS and for Android, but most of the apps it will look slightly different because of the hardware. Companies normally try to make it identical, but it's not always work. Right? So I think when you answer this question, you got to put some thinking into it. If you say that you have an experience about that, you should tell, well, it depends. Because from my experience, I've tested that the apps that were absolutely identical on Android and iOS, and then I can allow to myself create identical test cases. But I also tested applications where the Android and iOS devices were different, and then I had to create different test cases for different OSs. Okay? Nobody, don't try to get into complicated matter, guys. It's not about compatibilities, it's simply about functional testing. Okay, next one. Can it be the case where the same bug is reproducible on Android and on iOS? Great. Yes. So if bug is reproducible on Android and on iOS, it's a server bug. Correct. And if a bug is reproducible only on iOS or only on Android, not a native bug, is not such a thing. Client bug. Correct. That's a client bug. Very nice, you guys. Now, sometimes, when bug is reproducible on Android and on iOS, that can be client bug as well. Okay, because developers will follow same logic. But most of the time, that will be client bug. Okay. How many test cases did you write for your last project? Yeah, about 200-300. Okay. If you say 1,000, you would need to explain your project. But in between 300 and 800, that will be correct amount of test cases. Don't get too greedy. I would say 300, 400 is a good answer. And last one, why do you leave your company? That's a very important question. Reason for leaving. Contract expire, bad answer. No, not good. Not good, guys. No. So I moved to another state. That's a good answer. Working remotely, want to work inside the company. Very rare case scenario, man. It's so nice to work from home. When you say your contract is expired, if you tell me something, when I'm interviewing the person and he tells me my contract expired, if contract hasn't been expanded, it means you're not good. You need to know that. I work as a director for 10 years. For the last 10 years, I work as a director of quality assurance. And if person is good, it's no way I would not extend the contract. It's probably I don't have a chance to give the person a full-time job because I have no budget. But if person is a good person and he does a good job, I will always expand it. Okay? I would never let the person go. You need to remember it. And also know for yourself, whatever they say to you when they fire you, if they really like you and they really find you a very good QA person, they would not let you go. So I think the good options would be to say the startup that I worked for shutting down, they're running out of money. The good thing would be that I moved out of state. The good thing would be, what else? I want to learn automation, but the company doesn't give me a chance. They just need black box testing, and we have no money to hire another person so we can introduce automation in the company. And I'm really anxious to learn. That's probably would be the good answers. Yes, that's true. You need to make sure that they're interested in automation. If it's your first job, that you wouldn't face this question, why did you leave, right? But if you're not putting experience in, you wouldn't have a high salary, and it will be very hard to find a job. Okay, guys, I think we are done for today. Please get ready for automation. Again, please, I beg you, don't send me emails when you say that you develop something in Java, or Python, or Perl, or whatever. I'm not gonna check it. Okay, just questions relevant to the class material. Also, don't try to jump ahead. Trust me, we will get there. Okay? You can jump ahead. You can listen to my classes and read my blogs. But if you don't understand something, wait for me to get there. So I want you, for the homework, please go through the bug tracking system. Close bugs, open bugs. It's important. And think about test cases for the Coke machine. I didn't like what I saw today, so we're gonna do it again. Tomorrow it's a Mike's class. My class is Wednesday, guys. Okay? Have a nice evening. See you all Wednesday. Keep practicing creating test cases and also practice your automation skills. Bye, guys.